Hello everyone. Uh, Let me first introduce myself. My name is Arup Day. I am marketing expert. I handle all marketing activities for OpenXcell Studio. And today we are presenting this webinar. It's a very basic topic, but at the same time, it's highly useful as well. Most of you have come and expressed that you want to go ahead with making a game application. So today's agenda is, the topic for today's webinar is concept to market, how mobile game development works. So the presentation is it's basically divided into two parts. First part would be delivered by me, which will deal with mostly the statistical aspects of the market, and the next part would be taken up by my colleague Amit Ramanuj. Amit is my colleague, and Amit is game analyst at OpenXcell Studio. Before going into the presentation, I would like to tell you that if you have any question and answer, if you have any queries, any questions, you can put them in the chat box that is at the right side of the screen, and we will take up all the question and answers after concluding the webinar. You already know about both the speakers, that is me and Amit. I'm marketing expert for OpenXcell Studio. Amit is game analyst, and so let's begin. So let me first introduce OpenXcell Studio to you. Let me give you a brief introduction. You might already be knowing about OpenXcell Technolabs. We are a leading app development company, and OpenXcell Studio is a subsidiary of OpenXcell Technolabs, and we deal specifically with games. OpenXcell Studio provides mostly game development services for mobile games, and we have also extended our services to art development, which includes art development for all platforms, mobile, PC games, consoles, and everything. We have a total talent pool of 200 plus at OpenXcell, of which more than 50 people are into game development, which includes game programming and art development. And till now we have worked with some renowned game publishing companies as well, which includes names like Ubisoft, then Capcom. We ported an app for Ubisoft last year. So yeah, we see ourselves as quite stable at the time, and we are venturing into all the trending aspects and all the trending things that are going into mobile game app development in the market, which includes a lot of emphasis on low poly art, etc. And we also pay a huge attention, razor sharp attention on game testing as well. So that's about OpenXcell. Let me just take you to the statistical aspects of game market, mobile game market specifically, because we'll need to deal with the statistical aspect first before we delve much deeper into the structural aspects, which Amit will be delivering to you. So you would come across various figures and so many numbers across all websites. There are so many statistics website and all, but this is one particular figure that you should see right now. Total revenue for mobile games was more than $10 billion in 2013, and that is something that probably might have landed you here for this webinar. Gartner has also predicted that by the end of for the year 2014 it will be 17 plus billion, and by the end of 2020 it would go more than $22 billion for mobile game alone. So there is a lot of potential in this market, and everyone is realizing it, be it small independent game developers or big companies like Ubisoft or EA. Everyone is going deep into mobile and trying out different strategies, various technical upgradations, reviewing their art development process, everything is under total, metamorphosis due to mobile game development. So this is the breakup for 2013, and you would see that Asia Pacific has scored the highest in revenues here, 5.9 billion, which is very impressive. North America, Western Europe, they have been consistent since the beginning and they continue to churn out revenues, healthy revenues. But Asia Pacific is one market which is really, it's gearing up for a big boom and already showing its true colors now. The best thing about Asia Pacific, I would like to talk about Asia Pacific market here because many companies, even Western companies, are eyeing into Asia Pacific right now. So I would like to talk a little bit about Asia Pacific market. The market is massive and huge, and the best thing about Asia Pacific is the penetration rate in Asia Pacific is phenomenal. In fact, if you talk about Indonesia, the penetration rate is more than 100%. That means each and every person has a smartphone or a device with which they can access game content or multimedia content. So that is quite promising. Some also think that it is overhyped, like the revenue won't be, it won't be sustainable, and that comes from some of the games, basic nature of the market. I mean, if you see the leading players up there, like Tencent from China, what Tencent is doing right now is it is making a lot of games and it is randomly throwing them into the market. They have the market research in place before making those games, but not every game, more than 50% of games are not actually working or not, they're not app store hit, but the rest of them are doing very, very good. So this is the reason there is some ambiguity in the market, Asia Pacific, yes, but it is also generating a lot of revenues. And there are various game analytics companies as well that have which are acquiring local companies within Asia Pacific right now. So this market is quite lucrative as far as future is concerned, although the monetization aspects for Asia Pacific is a little difficult, or maybe you can say tough. So that's about the market breakup on international basis. I would also talk about the conversion and average revenue per user aspects here. This slide will give you ideas on what is the magnitude when you compare United States. It's basically between United States and China. We are considering China here because China is in fact the major player among all countries here. It is the biggest market, and if you see the graphs carefully, if you see the stats, you can easily see that there has been 21% increase on both conversion as well as average revenue per paying user. You see the growth in US, you compare it to China, and you can easily make out the difference and the potential in this market. So this is mostly this throws light on the potential and the prospects that lies in this market. And if you have a game idea that can cater to this market, then definitely you can make it big, even if it does not give that wow experience. It mostly depends on the gameplay, what kind of gameplay you are incorporating, and what kind of what is the game idea fundamentally. So this is one of the major aspects. Moving on to the next slide. Now if you have a game idea and you want to develop, you probably want to, or maybe confused whether you want to develop it or not, then this slide might be a little helpful to you. You see, this is uh, you see there are 4 quadrants here, okay, and once anyone conceptualizes a game or has a game idea, he always thinks about investment, like how I'm gonna, whether my game idea would be able to draw investment, yes or no, and what would be what I would need to invest in. So these two factors are very important. You start with your own capital maybe, or make the game grow a little, then you attract investment. So what is the potential of that? And if you see carefully, that then games here lies in the top left quadrant. So it's quite high on the y-axis. So games do have a lot of investment potential, but then the exit opportunities are also less. The reason being, if you want to make something big, and if you analyze all the games across App Store, you would see a common trend that the games have either they have multiple levels. Most of them would be like massively multiplayer, and most of the games that are hip, that are doing good and are hit in the App Store, have a lot of levels. So if you want to make something like Bad Piggies or maybe something like Angry Birds, that would demand a lot towards aesthetics as well as designing the entire gameplay for those levels. So if you want to get something like Angry Birds or Bad Piggies done from a developer, it would generally cost you higher than making a game like Flappy Bird, or maybe some calculation based game which does not demand much of emphasis into game art or level design. So when that happens, the exit opportunities, they become feeble. So once you go into that, coming out of that thing, and if it's not working, then if you want to come out of that, then it becomes a little difficult. And some of the aspects, some of the things that are given in this slide, I mean, apps, I mean, categories which fall into both, which has higher exit opportunities as well as investment potential. If you see m-commerce, I don't really agree to that, because generally m-commerce apps, they do attract a lot of investment, but a lot of activities and a lot of efforts are put into the business, basic business working as well, and the internal value chain aspects. So games, coming back to games, they do have a lot of investment potential, but then it again goes back to your game idea and how would you like to execute it, and are you really willing to take risks, and what is your ability to take risks. That is also one of the key factors here. Now I'll give you two scenarios. Two different companies, both are funded, but both have different visions, it seems. You see, Clash of Clans, right, but till date, I think it has generated an investment of around 1.5 billion, which happens to be the biggest investment ever attracted by any game till date. And you might also be knowing about the levels and the massiveness of this game. It's huge, and it is also funded by a couple of Japanese companies as well. So here you see the vision is totally different. The game draws a lot from game art, the aesthetics, the appeal. It's a totally different scenario, and the risk involved is much higher. Now if you move into Octro, I don't know whether you know about this company or not. It's an Indian company, but recently, maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, it has attracted an investment of 15 millions from Sequoia Capital. And if you see the games, they don't have much of aesthetic appeal in that. They have emphasized on making games, they have actually digitized traditional Indian games. If you see this, the first one here in the slide, Teen Patti. Teen Patti is basically Indian rummy. Then you have a standalone rummy app. Then this Tambola. Tambola is basically a gamble game here in India. So what they are doing is popular game ideas or traditional games that are already popular across all the parts of India. They have taken those, they have digitized them. And you can either play with real money or you can go for in-app purchase. And there are a lot of ads as well, in-app ads. So this is how these Octo has managed to make these games profitable and trending on app stores. The investment between Clash of Clans and Supercell and Octo is there's a huge difference between, that's why you see the huge difference here. But 15 million is also not less. And if you can come up with something like this, then you have high chances to realize your game idea in the app store. So this is about attracting investment through your game. Now let us look into the revenues. This data comes from DigiCapital, and you can clearly see the big dot on the lower left quadrant and the size of the bubble, and all the size of these bubbles, they represent the respective relative revenues. So you see games, it has outnumbered everything here. Each and every category is outnumbered. So yes, there is a lot of revenue potential in games, and this is the reason Play Store has a different category of games altogether. Now if you see the projection into future, the bubble moves a little towards the right, and this signifies that people are looking into social networking aspects within games, like for example Candy Crush. In fact, the game development requests that we are getting these days, most of them are coming with this request: I want social integration, I want this feature, I want these users to interact this way. So this app as a service, those elements are frequently getting into games each and every day. So the revenue potential does not decrease, but yes, it does indicate that social features and social connection within games, they are on high demand, and people are actually going for that right now if they want to make a game. And we see a lot happening of that in our own studio. This is another thing that you would like to know about mobile game loyalty matrix. This comes from Flurry. And retention, and obviously retention and frequency are two most important variables that comes into play. And again, like I said, most of the traditional games which are digitized have higher chances of more retention and frequency as well. And social turn basis, obviously we have already seen what if you do that right and integrate and if you sync that properly within your game application, then definitely the retention as well as frequency of usage would definitely increase. That again depends on a lot of factors again. But to give you an idea, this is what it looks like. And if you want to make a social turn-based game or a management simulation, you generally have high chances of more frequency of usage and more retention as well. Let's move on to the next slide. This would be the last from me. I'll again take over from Amit afterwards, but this is the last part of the statistical data that I want to give you. A lot of people are analyzing the role of women and girls in games, even grandmoms, because casual gaming is something that appeals to women. And if you have that in mind, if you want to create something for specifically for women and female, then you should really look at this slide. So see, you see a general trend here. I mean, most of you might be, you might be having your girlfriend or wives and all. So it is, it is prominent, and we all know it, that women, they're always after some purpose. They would always have some purpose in their minds. They're not without purpose, right? So if you can satisfy that, then you can have them for a long time. And this is what the lower right quadrant here suggests. Social games, then solitaire, management simulation, they work very well with females, because all women want to do is to come home, or maybe when they're at the bus stop, or somewhere out having a free time, they just want to relax. That's what they want to do. They are not into action or strategy games, because they don't want to spend their mind in that, and they don't feel any accomplishment even if they play it. So these are some of the categories, and you can compare both these slides. There are various similarities as well, which indicates that how I mean, there's a lot of things that is common between, if you want to have high engagement from women, female users, as well as in general. So that's about the statistical part. I'll again come back to give you some data and knowledge, some facts on game marketing. But from here on, I'll hand over to Amit Ramanuj. Amit Ramanuj is game analyst at OpenXcell Studio, and he would discuss all the structural part of game development process. So over to you, Amit.
Yes, thanks a lot, Arup, and thank you for the wonderful data and statistics here. Hello everyone, I'm Amit Ramanuj. I'm the game analyst and game designer at OpenXcell, and we will be talking about my favorite subject, and that is video game development. Let's go through the development stages here. Let's begin with that. Now, video game development includes a huge number of topics, and we are going to cover as many as possible in brief. Surely enough, if as Arup has already mentioned, if you have any queries, please hold on to it, and we will be happy to answer them once we are through. So let's begin. Well, mobile game development includes a number of stages, and all can be classified in these three stages mainly. Conceptualization, which includes coming up with a concept and writing down a game design document, which is also part of pre-production. This also will include some creating concept art, imagining the art side of your game. Next is development, of course, and at last, once you've prepared the whole game, it comes with post-production and maintenance part, which is also an important stage, because when you're publishing a game on a mobile market, it's gonna last forever, and it's good to continuously update your game and provide new content to all the users. So let's begin with conceptualization. Now, a game concept could spawn from an idea, or a story, or an incident, almost anything. Just all it takes is a simple thought. any event can be an inspiration to a game concept. But before we begin, before we prepare a concept, before we think about our game, we need to identify the purpose of our game. What is it going to be used of? Is it an educational game, or a casual pastime entertainment, or a storytelling? A game to promote a product or a service that your business could provide. Now these are the different purposes that your game could fulfill, and each one of you could have a different purpose, and based on that we can come up with a game concept and create the whole game design around it. Another important question to ask yourself is how much the revenue is important to you. Profit is always important, but like how much? Monetization techniques can often require the game to behave in certain ways, and it could largely affect your game design. So if you know the answer to this question, if you know that how important the revenue generation is to you, your whole game design will go through less changes during the development. Let's look at some examples of a game concept. Well, let's say that you're stuck in a traffic, and you wish that your city has better traffic management. We can create a game based on that. You could create a concept where a game uh, where you have to manage traffic lights and cars to avoid traffic jam or even collisions. Or let's assume that you're in a shoe business. You're either making manufacturing shoes or selling them. We can make an endless running game in which the player gets a power up of faster running shoes, and when he gets this power, you can showcase your product in the game right away, right there. Or let's look at another scenario. Some of you may have already been into application business, and you have a well-organized portfolio of apps. Now you wish to add a mobile game to it. We can research the market, we can find the current trending genre, and come up with a concept with a unique idea behind it, and capture the tides of this trend. The possibilities here are endless. You can take any core concept and build a game design around it. It's creating a concept is that easy, to be honest. Next is elements of casual game design. Let's look at what goes into the game design document, what creates the whole concept of the game, the whole bible of like what the whole game will have, all the things that goes into it. So the first important thing is core mechanics. Now core mechanics is it describes that the main action the player is going to do when or he must do to play or win the game, and all the other features, all the elements of the game are usually derived from this core mechanic. It's the most important part here. Now it contains its core mechanic statement contains an action verb, which should be like shoot, slice, or draw, fling, switch, swipe, run, jump, maybe. Now let's look at some examples to give you a clear, better idea. For example, tap the traffic light switch on and off to control the traffic, as we discussed. Or swipe or tilt to run and dodge, like Temple Run, or match 3 or more candies of the same color. That's the core mechanic of Candy Crush. Or tap to raise the bird to go through the gaps. That's Flappy Bird. Next, when you're creating a game, it's really important to fix a title because that's your game's identity. And usually for casual games, it's often derived from the core mechanic. That should be like, for example, it could be a command, cut the rope, or it could be a question like, where's my water? Or it could be a tone or moon or a mood of your characters like Angry Birds. So these are the type of titles. It actually defines your game and gives a clear idea to the user. And after all, title and the icon is are going to be the first thing the players will see when they're looking in the marketplace. Next is story. Now, for casual games, a backstory may not seem that important, but the design should have some background that conveys enough to make the game interesting or to justify the gameplay. However, if your game or events in the game or the events in the game are based on a story, do add them. A story is usually there to make things interesting. It should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So it should describe what the whole game is about. For example, as you have all have played, Angry Bird shows a small story. It's not that significant, but they show it in the beginning that the birds are there and the pigs steal their eggs, and that causes the whole rivalry between them. Now it's not that significant, but it's there just to justify the gameplay. That's why the birds are killing the pigs. Story can also help enhance the gameplay in many ways. You can personalize your lead character if you have a background story to it. It really ties the player to the game, which is why it's usually said that a video gamer lives so many lives because he goes through so many stories. Now let's look at the gameplay, which is also derived from the core mechanic, but more in an extended manner. Gameplay not only describes the main action the player will be doing, but it also tells that how it will be done or what effect it will have in the game, how the game will respond. There will also be some reward for the player for his actions. Whatever he does, the game is going to reward him in form of coins or points. And this creates a point system, and let's take example of Angry Birds here. So first you have uh, you pull and catapult a bird, and that is core mechanic. If you aim and catapult a bird to hit the pigs, that's the whole gameplay. It should hit the pigs and kill them, which will give you the points. So you hit the pigs, that their strong castle breaks, and pigs disappear, and you get the score, which is your reward, and all the visual scene that's happening behind it. You're getting the stars and the points calculation and all that. That's feedback. And you take this reward, you take this point, and compare it with other players, or see that how many stars you've got. That creates the competition, and so the whole gameplay gets formed up. Let's move to the next slide and look at the elements of casual game design. First off, of course, graphics. Now, graphics are the face of the game. This is something you must give like considerable time to design. Graphics are as important as the gameplay. If you look at your game design and its feature and its story, and you can envision its look and feel, that how the graphics would look, what will justify my gameplay, my story. And there are many styles that we can apply to the graphics. We call it graphical themes, like realistic or doodle themed, or 8-bit or pixelated art, a cartoon themed. Below the picture that we have is paper artwork usually. Now let's look at the key features that your game is going to have. This is also important to describe in the game design. Now let's dig deeper in the game design and see that now we have a core mechanic, and we have a story which is game going to be based on. We can easily list out some key features of the game. For example, like it could include the aim, a goal of the game, any interesting non-core mechanics that we can have, like special powers, or its own point system, some challenges the game might include, or achievements and bonuses, a certain action that gives you some achievements. We can list them out as special features. Social sharing, as my colleague discussed, is a really important feature that has been trending right now. Also, multiplayer games. If you have an additional feature as multiplayer, it's an added benefit. Moving on to next topic, which is graphics design. Now this is where we go into further detail in graphics design. This defines how your game will look. You begin with defining some graphic features such as art style, a visual dimension, like whether it's going to be 2D or 3D, the whole game world and its characters, etc. But starting with the user interface. User interface, or call it UI system, plays an important role in your game. It keeps all the options that you have, non-gameplay options, organized, and it also displays the player data in a well-structured manner. No matter how complex or silly or insane your gameplay is, the menu system keeps things normal. You can list out all the options or menu screens you will need for your game, remove any additional or unnecessary items, and just keep it simple and silly. UI design should always follow the game theme, and you'll have to choose patterns and color combinations for the backgrounds and buttons. And also you'll have to make sure important items stand out in your UI. Like you don't want to put a gray play now button in a corner over a black background. That doesn't look good. That's not really easily accessible. Moving on to the next thing, which is user experience, which goes which is often discussed with the user interface, and that is justified, because no matter how attractive your UI is, if it's not user friendly, it's basically pointless. Let me just list out a few examples here and some points to consider when you're creating UI which delivers a good user experience. First thing is get the player in the game as fast as you can. If you can ditch the menu system altogether and send the player right into the game screen, that's best. For example, Age of Empires, Castle Siege, is a mobile game that did it, and it works like a charm. You go right into the game, and the game keeps your player profile ready, and if you it's usually not required to pause that game, but if you can also access all the other options if you need to. They're just not right in front of your screen. That's just, you know, they show the gameplay first, which is the most important part. This is one of the reasons why developers create quick play mode in games. They want the players to get into the game as fast as you can. And usually if you're making a casual game, it's important to get the player as fast as in the gameplay as fast as you can, because casual players have an attention span of maybe 6 to 10 seconds. So if you cannot impress them in this time limit, they might just lose the interest in the game and move on to some other application. Now, if in a casual game the player goes through multiple screens or options like play, to select campaign or multiplayer, to select difficulty, to select game world, and to select level, etc., you can imagine how frustrating this could be for the player. And if you have this part, you need to rethink the whole design. Now, the other aspect is the buttons in the mobile games. Since the mobile platform gives you an input system, a touch-based input system, you're not actually clicking the mouse or pressing a button on keyboard, so you need some sort of visual feedback there. Which is why the buttons in your game, in your UI, must have a visual feedback or a sound, a click or something. If it doesn't look or sound like it's being pressed, how will the player know? And the next is UI navigation, which is really important. Make sure it's in correct order. If you go from main menu to leaderboards, and from leaderboards to screen sharing, sharing the screen, sharing options, and if you tap back, if you want to go back, and you should end up in leaderboards again and not in the main menu. Some games don't do that, and that tends to be frustrating for the players. Moving on to next point is the game world. Now, the major graphical part of what players will see in your game is going to be about the game world. I mean, sure, the character can be considered the most important element, but the player is going to see more of your game world than your character. So describe the game world in your game design document. Imagine how it will look and write about it and mention its features, and if you could draw some concepts, anything that could help to convey your vision to the artist. The more information you give to the artist, the easier it would be for him to come up with the design that you imagine. Now, big budget games usually include a game art bible with the GDD, and a game art bible includes concept artwork for the game world, also a little bit of history behind it, and it's some of the landscape features and so on, which gives the artist the idea of what the world looks like, what is it about, what history does it have, and based on that it can create beautiful graphics. The characters and animations. This goes same as describing the game world. How a characters require a lot of descriptions. So here as well, you include whatever you think it's necessary. You could start with characters' appearance, his height, facial features, skin color, hair color, and so on, his overall build. Mention the things you wish to highlight more or emphasize more. And basic character animations include usual actions such as standing idle or walking, running, jumping, sliding, and so on. But animations are rather gameplay specific. Now, character animation is a rather tricky concept here. Artists create animations based on not only the character's appearance but also his personality. So if your character is like super active or anxious or playful, he won't just stay idle, but he'll keep on moving. He will move a lot at the same place. It's just it shows that the player character is active rather. If he's aware or prepared or athletic, or if you're creating a game, an action game, and your character is a soldier, he'll always stand ready. So it it, it the animation is based on the overall gameplay and the story behind it. If you have a lazy character, he might just yawn. Visual effects. Now this plays a really important role in video games because you know the the 2D games days are almost gone. Players love games with 3D graphics and all. Visual effects will help create particle effects and explosions and fog water simulations, and it helps enhance the graphical experience altogether. If you can, if you have played Zynga's Texas Hold'em Poker, now in that game, whenever the player wins a round, the screen is filled with blasts of chips and cards and all the symbols, and it's celebrating your win, and it's absolutely amazing. Players love it. So using the visual effects is very helpful in giving a visual feedback to the player, and it makes game a lot more fun. Now, if you once you have the whole game design ready, we should go through it once again and see that. Excuse me. We should go through it once again and see um, if we haven't made any mistakes, basically. So probably you have written down most of the game design, and it's time to gather up all the data and review and ask a few questions. We're just trying to evaluate the design before it goes into production. So you can ask yourself, like, is your game playable? Is it gameable? Can this be presented as a game? Does a player do something according to predefined rules in order to win? The player's actions change the outcome of the game. Other general queries such as is it fun for the intended audience? Are we, uh, usually the question is not that are we targeting the right audience, but it's more like is our game exactly that fun for the right audience? A few of the technical questions such as target platform, like will it work on the target platform? Will the target device provide comfortable controls? Do any of the proposed features conflict at all? Does the design element collide or refute? But the most important question here, I believe, would be that can the player break my game? Is the game design flawed in some way? Can the player earn more points than he's intended to? Is it super important? It is super important for games with monetization. If player can breaks if players can break the game, our whole monetization model fails. And at the end, we should simply fix the scope of the project. So decide which features you wish to have in the game at the time of the initial launch. And once you have a final scope, go on with it and finish it. We can always incorporate additional features to the game anytime we want. Just make sure crucial ones are there and incorporated in the game at the time of launch. This will help you set up the milestones and deadlines during the development. Now, a few other points to consider is like, for example, for graphics. Now, graphics do matter. A good and beautiful artwork will always win the hearts of the players. But it's not necessary to go for super realistic high definition graphics at all. As long as it looks good, it will be enjoyed. For example, Minecraft. It has sold about more than 20 million copies so far, and it has the worst graphics ever. So you see my point here. It's not about just beautiful graphics. However, it's an added bonus. But the gameplay is also that's as important here. Let's move to the development now. Now, we won't be discussing all the technical jibber-jabber, but we will definitely have a look at some development tools and softwares that's being used, and development cycles and overall process. Now that we have the concept, we have the design and all the details we require, let's talk about the graphics first. Let's say we are making a 2D graphics game and it will require some animations as well. Now there are a number of popular image editing softwares available, and with the new tablet-based application, the number of applications has gone wild. Just to name a few, we can use Corel Paint Shop or Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Flash Professional, which is mostly used for 2D animations, and SADC photo editor is there as well, and Microsoft Paint. No, not Microsoft Paint, of course. I mean, you could, but not when you have better options available. So usually 2D artists will use these graphics softwares, and they'll create an image of an item that we are going to use in our game. We can then display those items using game engines, which we'll be talking about in a while. If it's an animation, we display that. Now, 2D animation is basically a sequence of images displayed one after another. Now, there's one more thing. 2D artists often use graphic tablets or digitizers to use their talent more efficiently and make better digital art. It provides them a facility of naturally drawing an image or a character or game world and having it portrayed digitally in an instant. Let's say you wish to have 3D graphics in your game. So 3D graphics takes a little longer process. creating a 3D object, let's say creating a 3D potato for our game Potato Smash. The artist will create 3D model shaped like a potato, and then he will integrate materials and textures on it on the 3D mesh to make it look like a potato. Then comes the part where he must prepare the 3D model for animation. Now, if our 3D potato is an animated potato, the artist will add a skeleton to it, which is a process called rigging. And rigging also sets up an internal mechanism for the animation. Then the artist will simply move the potato all the way he wants, as the way he wants to animate, and it will be recorded by the software in a frame by frame motion. That is the animation sequence, and it's stored in the file with the 3D model given to the 3D engine, and the 3D engine will trigger it whenever needed. Now let's see some tools of 3D modeling. There are a good number of softwares available for specifically for 3D game development and adding some beautiful visuals. Let me list a few here, and to begin with, Adobe Maya or Adobe 3ds Max. There are some less popular softwares as well, like ZBrush or Blender or RealFlow. Now RealFlow is more used for fluid simulation, for animated water with more realistic effects. So once we have all the graphics created and all the animations set up, all these assets will go into the game engine, where it will be integrated with other gameplay features. Now the development and development tools. This is my favorite phase of the game development. Concept design is fun and challenging task, of course, and artwork development certainly asks for some best creative traits. And to be honest, game programming is just magical. It gives you the power to create your own little game verse and make things happen, control it. Put all the artwork and animations and visual effects and music within the universe, and you will have a beautiful little world called video game. Let's see what let's see how do we do it. In fact, first we take a game engine. Now game engine provides a bunch of primary features pre-programmed in it, so we don't have to create it again. Some of the features are very crucial and the developer or the programmer must develop in order to create a game. This includes features like graphics rendering or displaying images and models on the screen, or input system management, or physics engine, particle system, audio engines, and so on. So all these modules, all these features are core part of a game engine. They are as important, and to ease up the development process, game engine incorporates all these together for the programmer. It gives you a platform on which you create your game. It takes care of all these crucial and complex tasks that you can focus so that you can focus on creating quality games. It makes things easier for the programmers. Some game engines are genre specific and platform specific too. So there are some future features that are good for your game, and there are some limitations which you should be aware of before going into the development. But some engines are rather universal, so you will need to list out the features you will require before choosing which game engine you will use. one might also face some technical limitations. For example, Game Salad is a very popular game development tool, and initially it only supported iOS platform. Now, so if you're creating a game design for, let's say, a PC platform or web development, web platform, you cannot really use Game Salad for this. Now, this was in the past. Now, as time went by and they added more features and started supporting more platforms. So now Game Salad supports a good number of platforms, including iOS, Android, Windows Phone, and PC and Mac. Now, before that, Game Salad was only available on Apple Macs, and it was not available on Windows-based system. So that was another limitation. You had to use Mac to use Game Salad. However, this is not the case anymore. It's available on both platforms, so that's a win. Now, let me name a few game engines here which are like really popular in the market and developers love it. For example, to begin with, Unreal Engine or Unity 3D game engine, Crytek's CryEngine, Havoc's Vision Engine and Havoc's Project Anarchy, Shiva 3D, Marmalade, Game Salad, Yo-Yo Games Playmaker, Valve's Source Engine, Cocos 2D, and so on. So you can see that there's a wide variety of game engines available in the market, and based on our requirement and our features, we would choose the best engine we can use. Now in our studio we have been using Unity 3D, and there are a number of advantages of Unity, and probably that's why it's been an engine of choice for about 4 million developers. Now that's a lot. First of all, it's a rapid development tool with its own integrated development environment. And secondly, and this is the best part, Unity 3D supports 21 platforms. It means once we create a project in Unity, we can just deploy our game on all other 21 platforms, and we don't have to add any additional effort to it. These platforms include iOS, Android, Windows Phone, Windows Desktop, Mac Desktop, Web Player, Facebook, Xbox 360, Xbox One, all the consoles as well, PS3, PS4, PS Vita, and many more. Now, the whole process of the game development falls on agile development methodology. Video game studios commonly use agile development, and it helps development process to respond to unpredictability. It's an iterative approach in which the games are built and all the features are built incrementally. So in agile methodology, what happens is the game development team will study the feature. It will begin with a feature requirement first. Then they will see the design and implement the feature to the whole system. Now, after the integration, the testing and testing, they will assess and review the whole system to check whether it works perfectly as expected, all the features are in place. Once that's done, the team will move ahead with the next module or the next feature. If the integration is unacceptable, on the other hand, or it requires additional changes, the team will incorporate changes and re-evaluate the features and then move to the next iteration. So it allows us to be a lot more flexible with the whole system. The next is post-production. Now the post-production stage is where the game is considered feature complete, and all of the code has been written and all the artwork has been designed. Now the game build is prepared and given to the testers. Also, this is the stage, I should mention here that this is the stage where the PR and marketing campaigns will usually begin, and it's like they'll create a blast in this social network. Now, along with fixing the known features, so the known issues, the development team also performs code optimization in order to make the game perform better and reduce the load time. And they also optimize and polish the graphics and animations and complete and integrate all the missing visual effects. Now, if the video game is being developed for consoles such as Xbox or PlayStation, the testers are also required to make sure the game meets all the standards and requirements that have been set by console manufacturers. Now, up to a certain degree, this is also the case for mobile platforms. So, all mobile platforms have certain policies and restrictions, and some of them are region specific too. A good example could be gambling games. Now, most of the markets, most of the countries have banned uh, gambling, and Apple and Android also bans the applications which falls into real money gambling. So that's kind of a nasty business that players, the companies don't usually go into. Now, once all the bugs have been solved and all the standards and policies laid out by platform owners have been taken care of, the team begins the final preparations of publishing the game. And this is when the gold master version is built and it's submitted for the review to the respected app store. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is the go-to-marketing strategy. The first thing is monetization, which is my favorite subject because it should be, to be honest, our favorite subject. What's monetizing games is to generate like gazillions of dollars in revenue. So let's talk about our options here. First of all, we will look into the monetization business models, premium and subscription model. Let's look at these models and define our cost of the game. Now, first and most ancient business model would be freemium. Premium, and premium game comes with a pay once cost. So it means that you purchase the game by paying upfront and enjoy all the features that the developer has intended to the fullest. And this also includes any future updates as well. Now, this would deliver the same user experience to all the players, since all the players will receive the same game objects and features. Now, this is not the same case in freemium model, which is also known as free-to-play. And it usually means that the game is free to download and install and play, but with limited features. And certain features will be locked, and you will need to pay a small sum of money to unlock and avail these features. And these features can be made available by in-app purchase. So in-app purchase items generally help to reduce the difficulty of the game or speed up players' progress. So in the case of freemium game, not all players experience the same gameplay. Um, if I purchase more items, more powers in my game, the game would be the difficulty would be much lower, and it will be easier for me to play and score higher. But I guess some trade commissions were not happy about this, and in November 2014, Apple updated its App Store with and they just dropped the word free from the installation button of the games. Now these are the games that are free but might include in-app purchase, so they were following the freemium model, and Apple didn't mention the game the word free. It's a small, but it was a significant change. It was simply aimed to state premium isn't free anymore. And Apple came up with a new category saying play once and play, in which you can see all the premium games but without the in-app purchase options. Now some developers go for subscription model in which players pay a monthly or a yearly fee to continue playing your game. That hasn't been totally uh, it, it's not a most utilized model in the mobile games market yet. But if you see online PC games, you can often encounter subscription models in massively multiplayer games. Now moving on to the next quite important aspect is its advertisement. And ads are one of the best ways to monetize the game. You can use any additional space in your app and display ads. Now the game stays free. Players don't really pay for watching any ads or anything, but you still generate revenue for displaying ads. So it creates a win-win situation. You can place banner ads wherever they fit in your game. Make sure ads don't obstruct the gameplay. Full screen interstitial ads are displayed after the end of the level or round, and usually right before the player is returning to the main menu. Now, and the video ads are slightly different. A player is asked to watch the ad video, and usually he's offered uh, a game specific reward in return. Now regardless of which model you opt for or which monetization feature you add in your game, it makes a significant impact on your game design. So if you're going for a, let's say, premium model with in-app purchase items, you need to make sure that the goods you're selling through in-app items are worth the price the players are paying for, because players are going to evaluate the product, and if it has lesser value or not justified value than what he's paying for, he might not buy it. Now since monetization affects game design in a drastic way, it is not really advisable to change the monetization model, going from premium to freemium or premium to subscription, or adding or removing ads and all so on, since it introduces risk of breaking the game. Let's move on to the next slide here, which describes the publishing. Now you can consider various platforms for publishing your game. I mean, with the current generation game development engines, you have a variety of choices, as I described Unity 3D supports like 21 platforms. So why should we limit to just 2 or 3? So we can go for iOS, Android, Windows Phone, Facebook, PC and Mac, and all the other web portals and game consoles. The choices are, should not be limited to just mobile games. If our game design allows it, we should really take advantage of all the markets available to us. Now, as you publish the game on iOS or Android App Store, it's available in all countries and markets. However, to take the full advantage of each market, it's important to localize the game's contents. For example, using Chinese race tracks for a racing game while promoting the game for the Chinese market. Also offering our game in Chinese language. But there are more things to consider, such as description and keywords, and categories and target audience as well. Now you can keep the description short and to the point, list down key features, and I'll do the trick, and it will do the trick. To mention support email or website link, it's just a good practice. Keywords are crucial as well. It's useful for the search engine to find your game title in the App Store. So the keywords are based on the content or gameplay you're offering in your game. And categories usually specify what type of gameplay you're offering. It also specifies, and this is important because it gives you what type of audience you're expecting to play this game. Let me give you a simple example here. You made a game which includes puzzles and brain teasers, and you need certain skills to play it. Now, if you place your game, if you place your puzzle game in casual category, you'll get casual players who may not be expecting brain teasers or puzzles. Now, this could result in low user retention or poor reviews. The last thing is date of publish and date of update, which is really important in long run. This shows this that the the date when the last update was made to the game, and if it's 4 or 5 months old, players might think the developer has just published the game in the marketplace and abandoned it. Unless you're keeping users engaged through other means, it's important to continuously update your game, because it gives the players a feeling of an active active participation from your end. Now, this is the part where I leave and I hand over back to Arup here, who will be helping us understand video game marketing.
Okay, okay, I'm back, guys, and I'll be explaining the remaining part of the presentation, which happens to be game marketing. Now, you might already be aware that the App Store is too crowded, and to make your game discovered across all the platform, you need to put some marketing activities which are very essential. Now, there are a host of marketing activities you can definitely check out on web, but you need to figure out yourself that which one of them suits you the best. As far as trends are concerned, these are some of the um, current trends that you could easily make out across all platforms currently, and video leads across all the platforms when it comes to game marketing, be it videos in the app stores, because game is mostly about gameplay. users, when they want to install a game, the first thing that they notice is the gameplay. And if you do it right within that promotional video in Play Store or iTunes, then almost like 60-70% of the job is done. Next comes social integration. Social integration, this is not actually, I won't generally categorize it under a marketing activity. This is more of a planning and sketching out the basic the structure of your game. If you are if you're going for social integration, then definitely it boosts the chances of the viral propagation for your game. So as I already told you that we are working on a lot of games, and most of them are they have come with the request of social integration. We are currently working on a couple of poker games, so it really helps to make your game discoverable with ease. Then comes paid social discovery. Uh, Within India, you can already if you have observed, then you might have come across these um, advertisements in the Facebook feeds of Teen Patti and Tambola and Rummy from Octro. So because those games, they need a mass market, and Facebook happens to be just the right platform for that. Paid social discovery is also happening through in-app purchase. Next is this is one of the this is really an interesting thing that's happening right now. Most of the apps which have high install base are actually exploiting their presence for app marketing activities or game marketing activities. And one of the best example is, I think, Clean Master. Most of you who are using an Android device, uh, most probably you will be using Clean Master, and if you have used that app, you might have noticed that a lot of promotional activities goes through within that app, and it is all very neatly integrated within the features of the application. So those kind of apps are also serving as a very potential platform for game marketing right now. Then comes localization of games. Game ads have already been discussed by Amit, I think. So localization of games is very important. I have already given you the facts that the Asia Pacific market has emerged as one of the most potential and most revenue driven market. So but the thing is, the language barrier that comes with when you consider Asia Pacific is, it's significant. So you have to localize your games, which includes localizing the description, because again there are a lot many app stores in these areas, these countries. So you need to publish the description in the local language, and there are other activities as well for which the game must be fine-tuned to the local public. This also might reflect on the game art aspects as well, and this is mostly about the game marketing trends that are happening right now. Overall, there are a lot many other ways you can market your games, but we choose to highlight some of the most uh, important and mostly like trending things that are going into this domain right now. There is another thing that you can do with your game is you can soft launch your game as well. Soft launches, it is mostly for people who have a very clear idea of their game and who have figured out, like 60-40 or 70-30 chance of they have this what do you say, maybe gut feel or something, that what can be the success factors, what can be the problem areas of the game that you are going to deploy on the App Store, and what soft launch is, what soft launch it generally is. It is actually a controlled launch which gets your game, but it does not goes to the specific audience you intend to. It goes to a very small subset of audience maybe, and it is extremely controlled. So what happens is, if you soft launch a game, then you can easily isolate the success factors, you can isolate the problem areas, you can easily quantify the user responses, what users have responded to the game, and what are the changes that should be made before you go, full speed ahead and launch your game, all and out on across all app stores with full pomp and marketing activities. Because you never know that which factor would you might be miscalculating the strong points or the weak points of a game. You might be unaware of some of the potential of your game as well. So soft launch, this is one of it is generally one kind of you can say one kind of deployment idea that you can employ and test with your game, and it definitely brings out all the loopholes that your game might be having, and it gives you a lot of opportunity and time to fix those and then go out for full-on launch. So this is our contact information, guys. We are available on these numbers, and if you want to put any inquiries regarding game development or mobile app development, you can put into that. So a big thank you for your time and patience. I have seen some of the someone has put some question, maybe we'll answer those right now. Michael is there? Okay, Michael has left, but okay, Michael says please explain consolidation. I think he's referring to the slide. Just go back to the slide. Yeah, no problem, no problem. I think Michael was referring to this slide most probably, and he wanted to know that what is this consolidation that is pointed on the x-axis of this quadrant. So consolidation is nothing here. Consolidation would mean it generally means how many reiterations can be done on the category of the app that is already deployed on the App Store. For example, if you consider health and fitness, if you consider books, or maybe App Store distribution, you can do a lot of reiterations. Okay, but now if you compare it to games, then the consolidation potential decreases. If, for example, I give you an example, if you come up with a gameplay, okay, in which a character is supposed to move from some tunnel, and you develop all the environment in that. Now you develop 3 environments in that. Then you decided, oh my god, I don't want to do that. I actually wanted the character to run on mountains. Then your game development partner has to develop all those environments again. So what you were planning for 3 level art, now you are planning for 6, and you will have to pay for 6. Hence, the consolidation potential in games decreases. That is the reason there are less exit opportunities. So once you are coming with a game, it is recommended that your game design document is precise and it is absolutely clear. So that is how you compare the consolidation potential between games and other application categories. You see, some of the app categories here have very low consolidation potential. For example, like messaging, because the UI defines everything. It is not that you cannot change it, because the price is definitely a factor. But in message, if you are talking about a messaging app, it is all about UI. There are so many messaging apps. Why do people use one messaging app and don't use the other? This is the reason. So this is about consolidation potential, and I think I have answered this question. So if anyone has any other question, yes, okay. I have a game which is currently published. Okay. Yeah, Rohit, this PPT will be available online. You can go to our resources for entrepreneurs section on our website, OpenXcell Technolabs. I mean OpenXcell.com, and we'll upload this recording and this PPT there itself, so you can download it and refer to it later. Yep. Yep. Welcome. Okay. Let's take Thomas now. But there are multiple box and blocks around. Do you have a service in case the box and enhanced encoded by another developer? Well, of course we can do that, Thomas, but that also depends upon how much how much, what is the platform. I think Amit is the right guy to answer this question maybe. Yep.
Thanks, Arup. So Thomas, yes, we can definitely do that for you. We would, really need to know that what kind of platform your game is using, and based on all the all the details of your game, we can give you a firm answer on this. Um, you're very welcome to contact our sales services and send us an email or call us up on these numbers, or shoot us an email, and we will get in touch with you, where we can discuss potential fixes for your game. And yes, we do have marketing and monetization services uh, in OpenXcell. It's actually handled with our sister company App2O. Is that correct?
Yes. Thomas, we have a separate entity itself for monetization and marketing. It is called app.com. You can go into that and check out our services, and whatever requirements that you have, you can post in there. Maybe Ankit or Vinod might get back to Thomas then.
Yes. Our colleagues will get back to you on marketing and monetization. And
the website is app.com.
Yes, the website.
Shall we write it here?
Yes, we're just going to mention the website on the chat box here for your information, and here we go. Yeah. Yes. Thanks a lot, guys. And if you have any other further queries, even in the later stage, feel free to get in touch with us, and we will be very happy to assist you.
And we will also be coming up with other webinars as well, and this time we will focus mostly on trending topics, mostly on art, and maybe a lot of people are asking about testing and bugs, so we also intend to do one on testing as well. So that's somehow that is one thing that we wanted to inform you.
Yes, that will be certainly coming soon on this.
Okay then. Thank you guys.
Thanks a lot for sticking with us, and we hope to see you back again when we do the next webinar.
Yep. Bye-bye. Bye, Rohit. Bye.